This interactive figure helps us understand seasons. As we learned in our reading, seasons are not due to the distance of the Earth from the Sun, but rather the tilt of the Earth on its axis. Two main things that then contribute to different weather at different times of the year are the length of the day and the directness of the Sun as it hits the surface of the Earth. Both of these help the Earth warm up, so if the day is longer, that allows the Earth to gather more energy from the Sun and heat up more. And when the light is more direct, it's more efficient, a more efficient delivery of this energy. If we look at the bottom of this picture, we see the middle slide actually gives us a sense of how effective the Earth is at delivering the light. The Sun is delivering the light to the Earth. Notice here it talks about the area of coverage. When you watch this video, you'll see this area of coverage getting smaller and larger as the seasons change. When this area is larger, it actually means that the Sun's energy is more diluted because a certain amount of energy is covering a larger area. It's like taking a can of paint, and are you going to paint a very small square with that whole can of paint, or are you going to paint a whole wall? The thickness of the paint is going to be different, and that's the analogy I like to think about for the Sun's energy. As we have it set right here, notice that our latitude where we're supposedly living on Earth right now is about 40 degrees north, which is very similar to where we are here in Providence. Notice the date is December 21st, which is the first day of winter. Notice that the northern hemisphere is tilted away from the Sun. We're not getting very direct light. We see the light coming in at a big angle, and also during the day you see that the light is going to be sort of glancing. It's going to be hitting much more directly right around these latitudes, but not as directly in the northern latitudes. We can also look and see what the North Pole looks like during this time as well. So let's start running this. So as we move this, notice that the North Pole at this time of year, in this lower right-hand corner, isn't ever seeing any sunlight. That's what we have learned in our education, is in the very northern areas of the Earth, in the winter time, which we're just now moving out of the winter time and approaching spring, the Sun doesn't even come up hardly if you're at very, very northern latitudes, very close to the North Pole. Now we're getting more towards spring. Notice that the position of the Earth is changing in its orbit around the Sun. Notice how this light is getting a lot more direct, and it's covering a much smaller area. So the days are also going to be getting longer because the Sun's path across the sky will be getting longer. So the Earth is warming, at least where we are. Now as we're moving on towards the first day of summer, which we are there right about now, notice how the difference is here. Now we're tilted towards the Sun. Notice also how now the Sun is very direct and is covering a much smaller area. And then we can continue on during fall, and we see that things are kind of happening in reverse. Also, I want to call your attention to down here. Notice now in the summertime, the northern latitudes, the Sun isn't ever even setting. That's why sometimes we call the northern latitudes the land of the midnight sun. And so we can continue on during the whole year and get back to December 21st. Let's just look at this and how it might be different if we change our latitude, if we move up near the North Pole. And let's take this back and let's run it here and notice how things look different. Now you see for this person, they were in the dark, and now as we approach spring, yay, the sun's coming out. Look how spread out the Sun's light is right here. It's much larger than when we were in the latitude corresponding to Providence. We now, as we get into the summer months, the sun is very high and the sky more direct. We're not seeing any night times at all. We're always going to see the sun until we approach the fall and then go back towards winter. These are things that you should be able to play with. You should be able to access these on the mastering site if you want to. And it's kind of fun to look at different latitudes and play with these interactive figures to really understand the concepts more thoroughly.